Today I will cover the sources and different types of the contaminants and okay. So generally what happen, groundwater, you know, that is very important. That is mostly used for the drinking purpose worldwide, especially in the arid region, rural areas, increasing in the urban and suburban environments. So here, arid regions means where the rainfall is very less. That is called arid region. That is the result region here. And rural area means village area where people are staying, and increasing urban and suburban environment. Urban means the people staying in the city, that is the urban. Suburban includes the surrounding the urban area or city, the peoples are also staying in a small population, that is called suburban environment. Okay, it is the most abundant available source of fresh water and mostly extracted raw material or raw water, that is the from the on the earth, and which represents the 97% of the non-frozen fresh water, and the withdrawal rate per year is 982 kilometer cubic meter per year. Okay, this is the withdrawal rate here. So so worldwide here, distribution of the water is 35% of all water withdrawal by the for the human population, and 38 to 42% globally water used for the irrigation purpose, and 36% of water resources are needed for the households, and roughly 27% of water needed for the industry and other manufacturing company here. Okay, so here uh, we are studying here in terms of groundwater contamination. So why we need to study the groundwater contamination here? The main so whatever the water is there, they are having some chemical and physical composition as per the within the desired limit that can be consumed here. So 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 as per the health point of view and public point of view, of water quality is the very important parameter that can be considered during the consumption of the water. If the water does not meet the fulfilling the criteria of the water quality, that can be treated, or it cannot be used for the people consumptions here. So groundwater may or may not standard, because so why it is not standard? Because it contains the dissolved constituent from the natural sources, that is the total uh, dissolved solids, sulfates and chlorides. These are having some certain limit that is available in the water, but it will once the cross the limit, that cannot be used for the drinking purpose. The organic liquid dissolve organics, inorganic constituent, excessive nutrients, pathogens, and from the anthropogenic sources. In such cases, groundwater contamination has occurred from the human action. Okay. So in next part here, so groundwater needs the protection, and it can be contaminated from the different sources, which can be covered here. So water dissolve more substances than almost other solvents, making it very susceptible to contamination, or susceptible means easily it can be contaminated or pollution here. So main question, what is the first question is that what is the contamination? What is the contamination results? Contamination, how can you define the contamination? The contamination is nothing but this is the modification of the physical, chemical and biological properties of the groundwater to an extent that may restrict or prevent its use for various purposes. So whatever the water is available, that is used for the different purpose, a different sector, and that is having some proper water quality parameters that can be based on that you can use in different area. So so in that case, if that is not satisfying that criteria, that is called your groundwater contamination. This impairs the use of the water and can be created hazard to public health throughout the toxicity or spread of disease among the people here. Thus, sometimes water is also considered as being polluted only if contamination levels cross the established limit to make the groundwater unfit for a particular use. That is your groundwater pollution here known. The groundwater pollution refers to degradation. That is finally you can see here degradation of the groundwater quality, making it unfit for the consumption. So once the groundwater pollution occurs, that cannot be used for the consumption here. During the last few decades, the quality of groundwater going deteriorating and many places worldwide due to the increase of industrialization, urbanization, and agricultural activities here. Here, and once the leaching occurs, that will take by natural recycling, it will take 100 to 1000 years once for treating naturally treated, that is the water here. That is the meaning here. Here the wide variety of material have been identified as a contamination found in groundwater. So there are a lot of contamination, different types of. These include the synthetic organic chemicals, hydrocarbons, inorganic cations, inorganic anions, pathogens, and radionuclides. I will discuss them one by one here in the next slide. So most of these materials are dissolved in water at different level here. So some of the organic compounds are only slightly soluble and will exist in both dissolved form and insoluble non-aqueous phases, which can also migrate in the subsurface environment. The inorganic cations and anions occurs in nature and may come from the natural as well as anthropogenic sources. So some of the radionuclides are naturally occurring and from the natural sources as well as being released into the ground water from the operation of the mining, milling, and ore process, industrial use, disposal of radioactive waste, and other radionuclides, which are the man-made and come from the nuclear weapons during the production and testing. Okay, so these are the regarding your radionuclides. There is a increasing public concern about the development of new chemicals, industrial process, which have potential to pollute the groundwater. So, for example, injection of liquid waste, circulation of geothermal energy fluids, and newly developed fracking fluids for enhanced extraction of hydrocarbon fuels, and all combining the utilization of groundwater at stressed locales. Okay, so these are the so based on that, previously whatever I discussed, these things have been I just make the tabular form here. So, for example, aromatic hydrocarbons. The aromatic hydrocarbons is first is the acetylphenone. So this is used for the in case of coal tar byproduct. Whatever the coal is manufacturing or producing, okay, that is used for the construction of the road or other purpose. In that case, your acetylphenone is used here. This is the one form of the hydrocarbons. One is the alkyl benzene sulfonates. This is the detergent which is used in the washing, okay, washing powder, okay. And another is the aniline. This is the intermediate photographic chemicals, pharmaceutical, herbicides, fungicides, and petroleum refining explosive. It can be used. That is the your aniline. Next is the benzene. Benzene is also mostly used in case of detergent and gasoline, coal tar and products here. Next the phenanthrene, dyestuff, explosive synthesis of drugs, biochemical research, and fluorine, resinous products, disulfide insecticide, coal tar by product here. There is a long list of hydrocarbons, but I have taken very few just to tell here. Another is the oxygenated hydro. This is the aromatic hydrocarbons. Next is your oxygenated hydrocarbons. In this acetic acid that is used in case of the food additives, plastic, dyestuff, pharmaceutical, photographic chemicals, insecticide, that is the acetic acid used, benzophenone, organic synthesis, odor, flavoring, pharmaceuticals, diethyl ether, that is the used for the anesthetic perfumes also, diethyl ether. Okay, this is your main purpose of the oxygenated hydrocarbons. Next is the diethyl sulfate, plastic, explosive solvent, insecticide, perfume, versol, paints and varnish thinner. The paints and varnish also used mostly for the your wooden polish or okay, furnitures. Formic acid is also used for the dyeing, finishing, and manufacturing of the fumigants, insecticides, and plastic and refrigerants. In case of refrigerator, this is the formic acid is also used here. Next is the your hydrocarbons with a specific element, for example, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, chloride, chlorine, bromide, iodine, and fluoride. So just like acetyl chloride, that is the pharmaceutical organic preparation. Benzyl chloride, medicine, intermediate. Benzyl chloride is used in case of the medicine. Chlorobenzene, that is used for the pesticide, chemical manufacturing. Chloroform is also used here. Plastic, fumigants, insecticide, refrigerants. In mostly chemistry lab, chloroform is used for the practical purpose by the students. Chlorothiol methyl, that is the herbicides. Locotidine, that is the pesticide. Dichlorophenyl, DDT and TD also mostly used for the insecticide in the agriculture field for the crop protection here. The dichlorophenyl that is used here, ethyl chloride, that is the chemical manufacturing, aesthetic solvent, refrigerant, and insecticides here. Other hydrocarbons, just like cover here, alkyl sulfonates, that is the for detergents, fuel oil, fuel heating, gasoline, fuel, kerosene, that is used for the fuel heating or for the burning the lamp in the houses. Propane, fuel solvent, refrigerants, propellant, organic synthesis, tanning, chemical manufacturing, tanning, textile, and inks. The tanning is also used in case of the ink, whatever you are using the writing the pen here. The undecane, that is the petroleum research and organic synthesis, that is the used here. The next is the metals and cations, that is the aluminum. Aluminum is the alloy, foundry paints, protective coatings used in case of electrical, mostly used in case of electrical industry. Arsenic is the used in case of the dyestuffs, medicine, soldiers, electronic devices, insecticides, herbicide, and preservative. Copper is also alloy that is used for the paints, electrical wiring, machinery construction, mostly use the copper wire in case of electrical and machine industry also use, that is the motor coil is also that is made of copper here. Iron is also machinery, magnets. Sodium is the chemical manufacturing, catalyst, coolant, non-glare lighting, highway, laboratory and reagents. Zinc is the electroplating, electronics, This is the non-metals. So here, this is the metals and cations, and this is the non-metals. That is the ammonia. Ammonia is mostly used in case of as a fertilizers, chemical manufacturing, refrigerators, or refrigerants, synthetic fibers, fuel, dyestuffs. Boron is also non-metal, alloy for fibers, filaments, semiconductors, propellant. Chloride here, chemical manufacturing, water purification. So you know that generally in water tank, chlorine we are putting to treat the water to kill the bacteria in the water here. The nitrates here, nitrate is fertilizer mostly used, and it is also used for the food preservatives. Cyanide, polymer production, heavy duty tires, coatings, and metallurgy, pesticide, phosphates, detergents, fertilizers, food additives, sulfates, fertilizer, pesticides, and sulfides, pulp production or processing, and food preservatives. Just you can see here, these are all the, whatever I am just telling here, all these are used in the daily life here in the worldwide. And that is once coming used, that is coming in dissolving the water, again it is polluting your water and going in the subsurface environment. Just you can see here is the radionuclides. Radionuclides, cesium, that is the gamma radiation source for the certain foods. Chromium 51, diagnosis of blood volume, blood cell life, that is used. Cobalt 60 is also used for the radiation therapy, radiation, radiographic testing, research. Iron 59 used for the medicine, tracer. Phosphorus 32, that is the tracer, medical treatment. And radium 228, naturally occurring. So these components of the radionuclides used in the medical line here to detect the health or for the treatment purpose. These are the types of the radionuclides are used. Just you can see here, except that one, bacteria, microorganisms, that is the bacteria coliform, the creating products such as ethanol and enzymes, making drugs such as antibiotics and vaccines. Okay, the bacteria also used. Giardia on surface or in soil, food, water that has been contaminated with feces. Viruses, that is the inside the living cells or organisms. Okay. So whatever I discussed, the different types of the contaminants, that is the in form of the metal, okay, non-metal, that is mostly used. Here is this is the recently burning research topic of the most of the researchers are working in the emerging contaminants. Okay, actually this is also from the long 20-year, 30-year, 50-year back also already exists, but no one is monitoring this one. But now they are monitoring, that is called emerging contaminants. In the recent year, has increased the concern over emerging, that is the organic contaminants, which were previously not yet industrially developed, not yet discovered in the environment, often due to the analytical limitation. Analytical limitation, that means that there were no such device which can measure this emerging contaminant. They can measure in the water. That was not available. Okay, or an alternative not yet recognized as a potential pollutants, or it means that is a not pollutants. Okay, these compounds include pharmaceuticals, personal care products, industrial chemical, and hormones. Some of these compounds and their uses are in less table here. I will see here. So your main classification of the emerging contaminants include the pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceutical means the industry which make the different medicine. Okay, Okay, so that is the pharmaceutical. Endocrine is the related to the medicine, which is a medicine which affect the hormones. Okay, body of the hormones, that is related to the hormones. Personal care product, okay, that is used in the daily life here. Organic, dye, pesticide here, that is coming from the agriculture field or to protect the different types of the fruits, okay, that is used, that is called pesticide. Microorganisms, that is the different types of the bacteria. Heavy metals, you know that, okay. So these are your main component is the pharmaceuticals and pesticide and personal care products. The pharmaceuticals, personal care products, and pesticide, three are main important here in case of emerging contaminants. Okay, so just here you can see here. So this diagram I have taken from the one paper. So just you can see here. This is your hospital. This is the industry. This is the domestic, livestock, farming, agriculture. So from agriculture is coming from the surface water. Again, from surface water is going to the groundwater here. So it is also coming on the soil. Domestic also coming on the soil here. This is also landfill, domestic waste, hospital also, surface water, and from industry, landfills, because whatever the waste is coming from the industry, they are landfilling, and once they are filling, then once the water occurs from the rainfall, that will dissolve chemical, again it will leaching to the subsurface and it will go to the groundwater, and that will affect the water quality here. So once these are coming here, the groundwater, again you have to send the groundwater for the water treatment plant. Okay, so just you can see here that once we are treating the water, that is also not up to the mark, not treating water. Okay, so there is some guidelines, okay, to keep the upper limit and lower up to permissible limit. Okay, in the literature has been given. I am not going to tell here. Okay, so okay. These pharmaceuticals, emerging contaminants, just I have given some in tabular form here to tell here. Carbamazepine, sulfo, and ibuprofen. This is the medicine generally mostly consumed by the people here. This is the anti-inflammatory, also an analgesic. Okay, so diclofenac. This is the anti. This is the diclofenac, anti-inflammatory, and paracetamol. Okay, the paracetamol is also used for in case of the fever. This is the analgesic, and ketoprofen, anti-inflammatory, and triclosan and phenjamine. This is the antibiotics. So mostly mostly people are consuming the paracetamol, ibuprofen, and antibiotics. Okay. Here from the industry, this is the bisphenol, known as potential endocrine, that is the plasticizer. Okay, which affect the hormones of the body here. Nonylphenol, known as a potential endocrine disrupting compound. This is the detergent. Glycolide, known as potential endocrine. This is the fragrance. Fragrance means whatever you are using the perfume like. Okay, so in that this chemical is also okay, used in case of your perfume here. TCEP, fire retardant. Okay, so this is your chloroethyl phosphate. Okay, and personal care products, caffeine, and containing degraded nicotine metabolite. Okay, hormones, estrone, known as potential or endocrine disrupting. Okay, and this is your estrogenic hormone, and okay, so these are the your different types of the emerging contaminants, okay, that is used and which knowingly or unknowingly pollute the groundwater here. A great deal of expense is involved with the water quality analysis. Cost can vary for the same analysis performed at different laboratories and can vary depending on the number of chemical parameters being tested. Okay, so regarding the emerging contaminants, there is a one equipment HPLC. Okay, so that is our available in our department, okay, in environmental lab. So one faculty member is working on that, okay. So that is very costly, okay. One here, just you can see here, one author collected the sample from the your Haridwar and Rishikesh river across, and he had taken the different samples, and he has tested for the your pharmaceuticals and personal care products, and he found the different types of the your here ibuprofen, diclofenac, and cryptophyrin, acetophenone, ciprofloxacin, erythromycin, and ofloxacin, tetracycline, metoprolol, and these are the different. Just you can see here, so these quantity is nanogram per liter. Quantity is very, very less. So just you can see here, caffeine is very high quantity he found, 5% of caffeine. Okay, other are very, very small. That is not so much important. But some here emerging contaminant, that is pharmaceutical PCP, are just he detected and found that they are very high in quantity here. Okay, so it can be concluded that due to the increasing protein population, urbanization, recreational activity, and from traditional to contemporary high load of PPC, that these quantity will vary depending upon the population migrating over all over the country and near the Haridwar, okay, because that is the holy river, and so they have tested in a different season and they have compared, okay, and they found that during the winter these quantities are very small as compared to other season here. So I'm not just not showing here. Next is the sources of groundwater contamination. The category first is the source designed to discharge contaminated fluids. Okay, so what is the source of the contaminants that is coming? So one is your septic tanks and cesspools, okay, are designed to discharge domestic wastewater in the subsurface above the water table. So whatever the septic tank or cesspools are available in domestic, okay, so that is coming. They are going to the water table and mixing, and they are polluting the water here, and they are also moving in the flow direction. The injection well means some people are what they are doing, they are making well, and whatever the waste is coming from the house, they are directly dumping there, okay, disposing in the well, okay. So that is also one source. Land application, treated or untreated municipal and industrial wastewater is applied to the land primarily via spray irrigation system. That is also a source, and which are generally afterwards they will go to the surface water in river, okay, and that will leach for okay, infiltrate and percolate and through the ground surface, and it will go to meet to the groundwater. Okay, so just I taken in the one picture here, just you can see here. So just you can see here, this is your house, this is the water, municipal water well here. Okay, this is also lateral, okay, and this is the fresh water. Here is the ocean type here, saline water, and this is the fresh water. This is your septic tank, okay, and this is the water is septic waste is coming and drain to the here. Okay, the water table. And these are the different sources, agriculture field here. This is your uh, accidental spill, that is your tank, that is a petrol, okay, petrol, your diesel tank, petrol pump, okay, once the leak, that will also create the problem of the groundwater. This is the municipal landfill. So once they are dumping the waste side, and that is the leaching through the surface, and that is the going also here. This is your water table, okay, and these are the industry. Okay, these are the some uh, picture which showing the different sources and which contaminate the your water, groundwater here. Second category is the sources designed to store, treat, and disposal of substances. That is the landfills. Landfills are by definition designed to minimize the adverse effects of waste disposal. Open dump. Open dumps are typically unregulated. They receive waste mainly from the household, but are used for the almost any types of the waste here. Open dump means you can see there different types of that medical waste also come, domestic waste also come, okay, from the industry some also come, okay, that this will cover the all types of the waste here. Residential disposal, home owners are not served by the trash collection service, must find alternative way of the disposing of their household waste. The surface impoundments, pits, ponds, lagoons are used for the industry, farmers, municipalities for the storage and treatment of both the liquid, non-hazardous and hazardous waste, and discharge of non-hazardous waste here. Okay, so mining or can also produce spoils, untreated soil, sediment, rock moved during the mining process, and tailing or solid waste left over after the processing of ore here. The fine particle sediments, that is also a big problem for the groundwater. Okay. Material stockpiles, many bulk commodities such as coal, road salts, or phosphate rock, building stone are stored in outdoor stockpiles. Graveyards, its bodies are buried without a gasket or unsealed gasket. Decomposition will release. So graveyard means the dead body, the put inside the earth. Okay, that will also a one source of the your pollution of the groundwater. Okay, animal birds burials, unless an animal is a famous, okay, so Kentucky thoroughbred or beloved family pet is likely to simply the buried in open excavation. They open the and they will put, okay, that is the animal. Above ground storage tanks, petroleum products, agriculture chemicals, other chemicals are also stored above the ground. Okay, that is also one source. Containers, many chemical and waste products are stored in drum, other containers. Should these leaks, and there is a potential for groundwater contamination. Okay, so open incineration, detonation site incineration process can reduce solid waste mass significantly, and these practices are popular in many countries. Radioactive waste disposal sites, high level of radio waste from nuclear power plants are currently in the temporary storage, but will eventually go into the underground repository excavated into rock here. Okay. Third category is the source designed to retain substance during the transport, that is the pipeline, which include the third category, sewer to transmit wastewater well as a pipelines for the transmission of the natural gas, petroleum products, and liquid or anhydrous ammonia. Material transport and transfer. Material transport and transfer occurs by movement of product and waste by truck, train along the transportation corridors, associated use of loading facility. So, irrigation. This is the fourth category, sources, discharging substances, consequences of other plant activity, irrigation. When crops are irrigated, more water is applied. Okay. So once you irrigate the crop, sufficient of water is required in the field, then it needed for the evapotranspiration. In doing so, it can mobilize chemical applied to the field and fertilizers and pesticide. Okay, so pesticide applicants, chemicals are applied to crops to control weeds, insects, fungi, mites, nematodes, rats, rodents, algae, system, and other pests here. The fertilizer application, farmers and homeowners alike apply fertilizers containing nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, potash, farm animal waste. Farm animals waste have also potential to contamination of groundwater with bacteria, virus, and okay. Salt application for highway and deciding. So in case of many states, snowy regions have dry pavement policy that requires the use of highway deciding, using salts, city street, rural highway, and interstate highway here. Home water softeners. And in area where the water supply is very high calcium, that is the hard water, high calcium and magnesium content, in that case, to reduce the hardness, so they use here urban runoff, that is the precipitation over the urban area typically results in greater portion of the runoff, less infiltration than falling on the nearby rural area here. This is the percolation of atmospheric pollutants in the atmosphere. Whatever the pollutants are there, they are dissolving, and particulate matter containing in the participant. When the rainfall occur, precipitation occur, that particulate matter dissolve in the precipitation, and that falling on the water, and that go in the surface water, and once it will reach the surface water, and so on, that will go also in subsurface water. Mine drainage, excessive surface underground mining may disrupt the natural groundwater flow patterns, expose rock containing pyrites and oxygenated water here. So, fracking fluids are designed to open a formation around a well to increase the surrounding permeability and allow the capture of oil or natural gas. Category 4th is the sources providing a conduit for contaminated water to enter aquifers. Okay, so in this case, the production wells are drilled to production oil, gas, geothermal energy. Okay, so that is also one problem for the groundwater contamination. Monitoring wells and exploration of borings. Many thousands of monitoring wells are being installed in United States each year. They are monitor the water table, okay? And infiltration galleries and dry wells. Also, infiltration of some spills can accelerate it into subsurface in the presence of infiltration gallery, dry wells, other facility designed to remove standing water over the storm in urban environments here. This is the diagram for the United States. So just you can see here the number of states and territories on the x-axis has been given, and the y-axis oil gases, saltwater intrusion, and road salting, land application, regulated hazardous waste site, injection wells, so industrial landfills. These are municipal landfills, agricultural activities, septic tanks, underground storage tanks. These are all are contributing the knowingly or unknowingly the parts of the groundwater contamination here. So one more thing, the long-term problem. Groundwater contamination is not a short-term problem. This is the long-term problem. So here, the one of the factors of groundwater contamination that makes serious as a long-term nature, waste buried along the ago may cause groundwater contamination that takes decades to be discovered. Okay, so whatever your waste buried through the subsurface, that will not show the immediately result, but it will give the result after 100 or 200 or 1000 years, depending upon the types of the condition at that soil here. Although many groundwater contamination sites are small, some of the long-term sites are fairly extensive due to the long time period over which the contamination has been migrating away from the source. So just one example I had taken here from the book here. So 1930 poisons beds utilizing arsenic. Okay, to give the part of the poison, arsenic used in mid-eastern United States to counter a grasshopper infestation, and apparently they left that one buried when infestation ended. Okay, so that one they put inside the land. In 1972, the water supply well was drilled for some small business, and salt order 11 to 13 ply became ill. Okay, so just you can see here the effect of that arsenic here, ill arsenic poisoning. Taste of wells showed containing 21 milligram per liter of arsenic and soil at the site of 3000 to 12,000 milligram per liter of arsenic. This was apparently a mixing of various sites for the arsenic laden grasshopper bed here. Okay, so just you can see here, long term, that is the effect of long term arsenic here. Okay. Beginning in 1910, waste fuel oil and solvents from railroads yard were discharged into dry bed of the major river near Vasto, California, and 1972 showed a zone of contaminated. So from 1910 and 1972, just effect has came. Groundwater extended nearly 4.25 miles from the site and 1800 feet wide. So this is the reference I given. So this result show that the groundwater contamination is a long-term problem here. Okay. Category 6 is the naturally occurring sources whose discharge is created and are exacerbated by human activity. Okay, so this is the due to the human activity. Groundwater surface water interaction. Some aquifers are recharged naturally from surface water if the stream stage is higher than the water table. So in case of what happens, in case of river, water table is water bed level in river above than the water table in the ground surface. In that case, your river water will contribute in the recharging your groundwater. And in some cases, both will be reversed. Okay, the water table is higher than your river bed. In that case, river bed is going down. In that case, your groundwater will contribute in your river here. The salt water into natural leaching, dissolved chem mineral occur in groundwater to the natural leaching from the rocks and soils. So rocks and soils also contains different types of the minerals. They are also contributing the dissolve the chemicals from the rocks in the water. Salt water intrusion in that is the occurring in case of your coastal area. Development of freshwater supply from the coastal aquifer may lower the water table and induce saline groundwater that occur naturally beneath the ocean to move the landward in formerly freshwater aquifers. So actually what happen in case of coastal area, once the one side is the your saline water and one side is the aquifer is the fresh water. So once you extract the more water, fresh water, in that case your saline water will induce in the your aquifer, and that will move where you are extracting the well. That also one problem. Okay, so in that way I have covered this part here. Any questions?
In the slide number 24,
Yeah.
category 4, sources of discharging substances.
Which one?
Slide number 24.
Slide number 24.
Yes. So there are pesticide applications and fertilizer applications. since that creates the discharging of substances from the groundwater contamination. So how can you, what are the basic mechanisms to reduce that, to manage the fertilizer application so that it can reduce the nitrate contamination in the ground?
Only actually, what happened, pesticide used for the protect the crop from the, uh, okay, insects, okay. So in the agriculture field in Haryana side, they are growing uh, to sell and to their uh, their own for eating. Okay, so they are using sufficient pesticide and crop here. Okay, so only one solution is that they have to use less. Okay, they cannot use much in quantity in the field. Okay, otherwise, once you are using the only way to treat the water, only solution is that. Otherwise, you have to whatever the you are using the pest, you have pesticide, you have fertilizer in the agriculture field. Just see that is once the flooding, you are once you are supplying the water in the agriculture field, that should not go behind your agriculture field in the field, okay, in the other area, in surface water, yeah, river, okay. And once also, that is also, once you are using the agriculture field also, that will also leach that one. It will go in the inside the, okay, through the infiltration, again, it will percolation, it will go finally the water table. So, the only solution is that we have to go for the organic farming, okay. Unless until we cannot use the organic farming, that problem cannot be solved. Okay, the one lecture is the regarding the remediation of the water, that will be tomorrow evening, afternoon. Okay, so you can see here the how the you can remediate the water. Okay. Yes.
So in the same category 4, the last point, tracking fluids.
What?
So in the same category 4, because slide number 25.
25.
So tracking fluids. What's the question? What does it mean? So tracking fluids, what happens is in many aquifers, you want to extract usually it's oil, gasoline, petroleum products, but these are buried at a very small pores. And to basically enhance the production, to be able to pull those out, what they do is they insert fluids into the porous media through the wells at very high pressures. So these are fracking fluids. So what they do is they disrupt the porous media, increase the permeability so that the water and the oils will move very fast towards the well. Unfortunately, these fracking fluids, you still have to be able to collect them back later on because some of them are toxic and can be contaminants. So that's why it's an environmental concern. It increases the production of the reservoir or the aquifer. We're able to extract a lot more oil out of it much more easily because you're breaking up the formation. But if it's not managed, it contributes to contaminating the aquifer. Someone you want to add to that?
That is okay.
So is it related to the extraction of that shale gas?
Yes. So in shale formations, typically you have to break up the formation to improve the production from they are called reservoirs because this is coming from petroleum engineering. We'll call them aquifers, but so that is, it's a very popular activity, but because it brings in a lot of money, but it destroys the formation.
Any more question? So we can stop here. Yeah.
Regarding agricultural contamination.
Yeah.
Actually, all agricultural states, they are bringing out a publication for criteria practice. And these criteria practices clearly specify how to apply fertilizer or pesticide, when to apply, in what quantity to apply, and when to release.
But the problem is actually the field irrigation, in many places over irrigation stage. And that actually nitrate among all, basic nutrients for nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and nitrogen is applied as nitrate. Nitrate is one ion which is very easily susceptible to leaching. So, if you over irrigate, then what happens is, after applying fertilizer, you over irrigate, immediately this will be leached. So, if you follow this package of practices regarding irrigation, etc., then to a large extent this can be avoided. Similarly, micro irrigation techniques if you are applying, that is again one technique by which you can avoid this fast leaching into.
So packaging practices where you get that.
That's all agriculture universities, their publications will have that.
Okay, so now we can stop. Yeah, thank you. Tea break. Yeah, tea break just to take the tea. After that, 15 minutes, you can come here.